Recommends Podcast is a podcast recommending series and shouldn't be mistaken as a reviewing one. Opinions about each show are my own and should not reflect what each podcast has to offer. Content warnings aside, I believe if any recommendation in my series interests you, you should give it a chance, regardless of how I personally feel about the show.
The funny thing is, I never really liked horses that much. Everyone thought I was like a horse girl, you know? Because when I was in elementary and middle school, I had all of these folders and notebooks with pictures of horses on them. But honestly, I was pretty indifferent to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like I was the one buying my school supplies. It was my dad. And I was like, 9 years old? I wasn't gonna say, no, Dad, I don't want the folder with the horses. I want the one with Doc McStuffins or the Minions or something. Actually, I was terrified of the Minions as a kid. I used to have these nightmares about them, that they were peeling off my skin and laughing, and they would call me a sick freak, and blood would just be spurting out of their yellow little tic-tac bodies. So I mean, it's not like I wanted that on my school supplies. But my dad was always the one to make decisions for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did whatever he told me. I joined the science club because he told me to. I joined the soccer team because he told me to. I studied biology because he told me to. I went to veterinary school because he told me to. Thank God I'm
Stella
an adult
Thomas's
now.
life just crashed down around her when she finds out her whole life has been in a simulation and is now thrown out into the cosmos. Most people would take this chance to find themselves in the vast expanse of the stars. Stella decides to join a garbage ship instead. The Stench Adventure is a sci-fi comedy podcast taking place in space. The show is written by Alex Kingsley of Strong Branch Productions and currently has 2 full seasons with a planned seasons 3 and 4 coming out in the future. This show is absolutely bizarre, but bizarre in like all the fun ways. It's super incredibly weird and I like it a lot as like a comedy podcast. I personally don't go for like comedy shows as like the very first thing I want to go watch or listen to. As you can tell with a lot of my previous recommendations, a lot of the podcasts I listen to are horror. And this is one of the couple that I do regularly keep up with that isn't horror. Honestly though, with some of the stuff that happens in this show, it could very much lean into horror if it wants to. It's just, God, the show is so bizarre. It's completely hysterical. The characters are really funny, and I just like how it builds its world. So the whole concept with like the story is that the main character has been living on Earth, but then Earth ended up being a simulation, and now she has to find her place in like space in like what is considered the quote-unquote real life. But a lot of the stuff that the beings that created her simulation, which honestly like the joke in on itself is so funny, you might as well go listen to the show to figure out because I don't want to spoil that. They base it off a lot of like the real life stuff in their world. So like one of the things in it is that Minecraft is in this universe is malware. Socialism is a game you play at a casino. Doritos don't exist, but Panda Express does, and all sorts of other stuff. Oh boy. And it's just so funny how it brings in like real world places and things, but like in this like universe it does. The jokes about Florida aged badly, but I mean it still technically is kind of accurate. And by kind of, I mean very accurate. And this is just a show with a huge cast of queer characters too. Gotta mention that early on because everybody loves queer rep in their podcasts, and this is not a different one. And I just really like the characters in the show a lot. I think my favorite has to be Baz. She's just really funny. I like her interacting with Buttercup, which is just super funny because Baz is this like tall alien lady and Buttercup is literally just a cat. And like cats are like sentient, a type of like alien in this setting, but then like humans are like not sentient, and they're like, oh, humans are like essentially the same as horses. This show has a big thing about horses. That's something to keep in mind. I will say though, the humor gets a bit nihilistic and depressing, but it also kind of turns it around with just being like, yeah, everything sucks and nothing matters, but that means you can do whatever you want because nothing matters. Woo! I will say though that especially in the beginning, this show does have a lot of like talks about like suicidal ideation and general just like capitalism shittiness. It ends up turning it around, so it doesn't dwell too much on like the whole like I feel bad for Stella, but you know. But yeah, no, this show is a lot of fun. I give the show a re-listen every once in a while just because it's really short. It's only like I think maybe like a little over 20 episodes, which might be a lot long for a lot of people, but like episodes typically don't go over half an hour long. They're mostly in like the low 20s range, which is really nice if you're looking for a short story podcast that isn't super long, that you can catch up to quickly, or you just need something to like fill in a good chunk of time. I would say this is a very good show. If like a lot of the vibes of this, like, it doesn't like it's space. If you think space travel and stuff, you might be thinking like, oh, this is probably gonna be a lot like Star Wars, but this doesn't feel like a Star Wars show. I never actually watched or read the movie or read the book, but it feels a lot like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, at least with what I've heard about it. But yeah, no, it's just a very bizarre, very weird show with like just like the most mediocre woman you have ever met in your life being like, okay, well, nothing in life matters. I just found out my life is a lie. What should I do? I'm gonna go work on a garbage ship with a bunch of animals because I'm a vet. Yeah! Which is essentially what happens in like the first couple episodes. And it's great. It's really fun. And the show just gets super weird. I like it a lot. I think I mentioned in my Tales from the Radiator episode that I hang out in the Strong Branch server because yeah, I did some character art for there when they were doing crowdfunding for seasons 2 and seasons 3. That was a lot of fun. I was very happy when they hired me to do that because these characters are a lot of fun to draw, and now I have my own little personal rest that I can use whenever I want to do fan art for them, just like the one I'm doing for this video. Yay! And yeah, just the show just gets so silly. I'm like sitting here like, should I talk about the jokes? I want to talk about the jokes. Like I gotta explain Trashland and Florida and Chickateague, but it's kind of like some of the stuff that like happens in here. It's like so overblown. Like I mentioned, socialism being a game you play in a casino. And when they brought that up, it was like one of those things that's just like, hey, wait a minute. That was really funny. And I feel like this is like one of those shows where it's like a lot of the little jokes sneak up on you. Because it's like, oh, they're talking about taxes. And then you find out that, like, you know, taxes in the galaxy isn't the same thing as how taxes were on Earth in the Earth simulation. Just as, you know, Minecraft being a video game in the Earth simulation is malware in space, which is really weird. I'm wondering how that works. So I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre. And I enjoy it a lot. I can't wait to see where season 3 goes. Also season 4, because they did say they were going to do a season 3 and a season 4, and that should be the end of this show. So we're about halfway there. They finished season 2 sometime last year. They're about to start season 3 summer of 2023. And I gotta say that because last time I mentioned like this is how much episodes of a thing are out. Somebody like corrected me when I posted the video later, and they're like, actually, there's now this number of episodes out. You should update your video. I can't do that, YouTube. But thanks for telling me something I probably already know. Anyway, if you go listen to the Stench of Adventure, please let me know, because it's a very good show, and it's got a great cast of people in it. There's some recognizable voices, like Alex Kingsley's in a bunch of stuff. So is Grace Griego. And so, yeah, no, it's just a good show that you guys should go listen to. I enjoyed it. I think other people could enjoy it, or should enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. You have to go listen to it and enjoy it. You know, I mean, unless like the content warnings get a bit too much for you. Like, you know, put your own mental health first. Don't let that bug you. You know. As always, I am going to be linking. First off, I'm going to be linking their socials down below, their website and their Patreon, because they do have a Patreon. You get some cool goodies if you join it. But also, I'm going to ask you, as I always do, to please recommend me more shows to add onto my list. I have a list. It has plenty of shows on it. It could always use more. And you never know. A show you recommend might already be on my list, but that just means that you got a bigger chance of me giving that a listen to next. And I try to make these videos with shows that I've just listened or re-listened to. I'm currently going through a bit of a buffer of a bunch of shows that I just re-listened to but haven't made videos for yet. And I'm listening to a longer show to fill up that time, and then I'll be recommending that longer show. So you never know. You don't know what I'll be listening to next. So as always, please just go do that. And if you want to follow my socials, I will be linking those down below. I do art. I complain about things on the internet. I draw comics. I have so many comics. You can hear me rant about Morgoth of the Omen King from Elden Ring, because that's been my thing for weeks now, and it's probably not going to end anytime soon. Because, you know, you just love it when you find a new Blorbo on the internet. So, yeah, anyway, please go do that. Have fun. Go listen to the Stench of Adventure. Tell me if you listen to the Stench of Adventure. And if you have, I love you. Goodbye.